Hey, what's up? What is VC here? Coming back at you with another. It's about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table. I'm just off the cuff. Nothing can stop me unless YouTube tries to block me for saying some, you know, things that they don't like what I say and all that. But Rumble, they, on the other hand, allow me to say what I want to say. So you can catch me on both YouTube and Rumble, whatever's more convenient for you. All right, so without further ado, let's get to it. All right, there's a lot going on. I mean, a lot going on. I mean, I don't. What it's like. Where do I begin? I know the hot news right now is coming out of New York with now the governor is considering removing Eric Adams from mayor just because he's playing ball with Trump. Isn't that sad? That because even though the mayor is Democrat, just like the liberal New York governor Hochul is a Democrat, that um, just because he's choosing to play ball with Trump, that all of a sudden it's bad, right? It's bad if you work with Trump. They got bigger problems to worry about than to try to remove a leader running New York City. By the way, has been experiencing rampant crime, uh, illegals everywhere, and all this bullshit they got to deal with. And for the longest time, even though Eric Adams had his gripes, he still played along because that's all he can do. So now, you know, when there's an opportunity to reverse course because that's the federal administration, Trump, coming in and want to just kind of clean things up, and Eric Adams says, hey, you know what? I've been trying to do this for a long time. There's nothing wrong with doing all that. And so just because there's a Democrat outcry for Eric Adams to be removed because he's not playing along with the liberal, progressive, you know, ways, and he's working with Trump. Oh my gosh, Trump is so evil, right? That now, you know, we should just check out this right here. All right, let's see here.
Finally, a meal service that works for men. Cook Unity sends you delicious, restaurant-quality meals
Straight to Fox News alert today, New York Governor Kathy Hochul will hold a meeting about New York City Mayor Eric Adams' future.
So check out the cover of the New York Post today, this morning, reading, "Fall from Gracie," as four of Adams's top aides, I guess you call them the deputy mayors, all resign.
Alexis McAdams joins us now with the latest. Hey, Alexis.
Hey, there is a lot going on over at City Hall, so we're going to see exactly what happens. This comes, though, as New York Governor Kathy Hochul says she is going to meet at some point this morning, we're told, with key leaders to discuss New York City Mayor Eric Adams' removal from office. She's not saying she's going to do it, but hey, they're looking at it, so that is the big news right now in New York.
Come on, if there's all this talk and she's not sure she's going to do it because one, she's getting a lot of pressure from her party, Democrat Party, and two, if you're going to look into all this, you are going to do it. I mean, that's just what it is. And two, she has a reputation to maintain. Hack Kathy Hochul, she's trying to be liberal and progressive, and she has one of her people that's going against her. It doesn't look good, all right, because she definitely shows she doesn't want to play ball with Trump, and that she should be looked into for corruption and simply just doing treasonistic things, right? You're not really following the government in terms of what they're trying to do, and that's to clean up this sort of illegal immigrant mess. That's the biggest thing. And they have deportation situations to take care of, but yet, the cities are New York is unsafe, right? The subways that she calls safe is not safe. People are voicing that concern every day, and you have all these things to worry about, but yet you want to consider removing the mayor, who is trying to help with those efforts to clean up and to bring safety and as a priority back to the city, she's going to remove him because Hochul's a bitch.
City. This comes as fellow Democrats, as you guys know, have been pushing for days now to try and get Adams out of there, including the city's comptroller is also possibly running for mayor. So we're going to see what happens today. The governor releasing this statement. Let's pull it up, okay? I recognize the immense responsibility I hold as governor and the constitutional powers granted to this office. In the 235 years of New York State history, these powers have never been utilized to remove a duly elected mayor. Overturning the will of the voters is a serious step that should not be taken lightly.
And she's going to do it anyways, all right? And that's the problem, right? She just said it. Overturning the will of the voters. And that's the thing they've been doing this whole time anyways. They've been stomping on voters this whole time regardless, right? Spending all our taxpayer money to fund illegals when we don't want it. Giving them, the shelter, the food, all that stuff. We don't want that, right? And so, overturn the will of voters. They don't care. They don't give a fuck. Democrats have been self-serving, and they've shown that they self-serve, that they don't care about nobody. And this is just another, step right here showing, a showcase here of them not caring about nobody ever, and that they're all about self-serving. All they care about is themselves and their kickbacks, right? That's why all their kickbacks are getting closed up, right? With all these so-called governmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, all these things, all these loopholes, all these things are being closed up of money funneling and corruption, paying, kickbacks and all that stuff. And they hate it. They hate it because they were, deep in money taken from us people, and nothing to show for. They don't give a damn, and they got exposed. This right here, they're going to do it anyways. Watch, you'll see. They're going to remove Eric Adams.
So that's what Hochul's saying this morning. But the calls to remove Mayor Adams are growing louder. This was just yesterday in New York City. People had signs and they were chanting. They said they want him gone. They feel like his back is up against the wall as allegations swirl, accusing him of making a deal with the Justice Department to drop his own criminal case, only if he would help the Trump administration enforce their immigration policies. You guys talked to Adams and Tom Homan just the other day on Fox and Friends, where he denied making any type of deal, pushing back, saying this prosecution is all based on politics.
She has her role, I have my role. And throughout this entire ordeal, which I think no American should have to go through, the torment of 15 months that my family and I had to endure for something I didn't do. I didn't do anything wrong. Throughout the entire ordeal, I said one thing. My attorney will handle the legal part. I'm going to handle running the city.
Really good.
And the only thing he did wrong was push back, saying, hey, this is going to destroy New York. Where's the government going to help kick in some funding and all that too? By the way, since we're housing all these people, going back the last couple years. And because he asked questions, he kind of pushed back a bit. All of a sudden, the Biden administration, DOJ, decides, hey, you know what? We're going to send you a message. All right? This is gangster politics now. We're going to send you a message. We're going to go raid your house. We're going to flip it. And we're going to say, hey, you better fall in line or else it's going to get worse, right? So Eric Adams was forced to kind of play ball, right? Kind of goes against, what his, I guess, values are. And he just wants to keep the city safe. And so when the Trump administration comes in to say, hey, we want to clean this shit up, Eric Adams say, hey, all right, I want to clean it up. Let's do it. Right? And so, it's funny because, yeah, Biden does preemptive pardons. It's not bad, right? Covering up Fauci, covering up the son, his own son, right, going back to 10 plus years, doing all these preemptive pardons for everybody, and we all know that's a kind of a bad looking way of going about things. So Trump just say, hey, you know what, Eric Adams playing ball. I'm gonna slide him one, do him a favor. I'm gonna remove that's lingering over his head, so that way he can just focus on cleaning up New York. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just I think the optics may look like a certain way in the Democrats' eyes, but for us normal people that don't overthink these things, he's trying to just do his job. And it's just funny how you get criticized to do your job, right? He's trying to get rid of illegals. He's trying to make the streets safe again, right? Because they got defunded, right? City services have been cut just in order to really help fund illegals, right? So enough is enough, and he finally has support to back him up. And then when Eric Adams wants to try to push to try to get things done, all of a sudden it's so bad now. It's so bad, right? These Democrats are just idiots and morons, right? It's so bad. They're moronic. And Hochul needs to go, if anything.
Judge to drop the charges against Adams the other day. This has all been coming. This comes, though, as you guys just mentioned, those 4 deputy mayors say they are out of City Hall. They don't want to be a part of this thing. And then also the top DOJ officials stepped down last week. So who would take over? How would that all play out is the question this morning. Well, if Adams is forced to leave or asked to resign there from public office, the public advocate, Jumaane Williams, who we've talked about before, would have to take over as acting mayor until...
Yeah, that Jumaane Williams dude, he don't give a fuck. He's gonna just go along with the progressive liberal, because he's more of a activist, right? And he'll just run the office however the liberal and progressives want to run it, right? Until they actually have real elections, because this deputy mayor or vice mayor, whatever he is, he's more of an activist. He don't give a damn.
Till there's that special election held. And yesterday, or this week rather, Mayor Adams was just saying at an event, you guys kind of pushing back against Jumaane Williams, saying, like, you don't want me? Are you sure you want this guy? So we'll see what he has to say today.
So Alexis, from what you know, so for example, there could be a special election before the election, which is November?
That's what they're possible. So we have to see.
Crazy.
We have to see. But this Jumaane Williams has said for quite some time now, as these allegations have swirled and there's been some issues going at City Hall over the NYPD, he said he was ready to kind of to take charge and get over there to City Hall. But yeah. Adams has said to you guys, too, that's his big thing. He said he's been through so much in the past. He talks about, his mom always told him to push through. So he says he's going to stick it out. So we'll see what happens.
Unbelievable.
Right. And Alexis, you mentioned Jumaane Williams. The mayor yesterday said you really don't want him because here's a guy who gets up at noon. It's hard to run a city when you get up at noon. But real quickly,
De Blasio.
Like the last guy.
Regarding this meeting with the governor today, she's in a terrible predicament because it would be hard for her to throw out a Democrat who is the mayor of New York City.
Right.
While, as we know, there's going to be an election in June. Why not just let it play itself out? Let the folks decide in June, and he'll probably be booted anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. He thinks...
It'd actually be funny is if he gets reelected and you're face to Hochul.
That he'd still be fine. He said last time around, too, he was down in those poll numbers. He doesn't care, the mayor, about those poll numbers or what people are saying. He says it's up to New Yorkers. He feels like he's done a good job. But Kathy Hochul, that's why she said, I guess, in that statement, it's up to the will of the voters. She doesn't really want to overturn it and just kind of leave it willy-nilly. So we'll have to see what happens. But that meeting is just a few blocks away, so we're going to head there.
Her lieutenant governor has even called for Adams to resign, and
that
lieutenant governor was handpicked by Hochul. And she said in the 235 years of New York State history, the governor's power to remove an elected official has never been used. So this would be a first.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks, Alexis.
Thanks, guys.
Great job.
Yeah, for what? Doing his job? I mean, it's not like he's doing drugs or doing some sort of blatant stuff. He's just trying to do his job, working with Trump, and it's so bad all of a sudden.
You know, when I hear the word emergency meeting, it just really grinds my gear. There was no emergency meeting when an illegal set that woman on fire in the subway. There has been no emergency meeting when people have been pushed into the subway, shooting at our cops in the middle of the street. No emergency meeting. But suddenly, when you got a guy who's the mayor working with the president of the United States to keep this city safe, all they want to do is get the criminals off the street. Suddenly there's an emergency meeting to get him removed, but not when all of our lives...
It's just as stupid as how, you know, we had these fires going on in California, right, a month ago. And then all of a sudden, Gavin Newsom, the governor, wants to have, you know, meetings at the Capitol, you know, while this fire is going on, so they could Trump-proof California, right? It's stupid shit like that. It's like, is this more important than dealing with wildfires down south, right? To have this sort of closed-door meeting to Trump-proof California, right? So that way they could protect illegals and all that. I mean, is that really more important, right? You know, when they have all these other issues to deal with, right? And shit like that. Stupid Democrat liberal bullshit.
Been put at risk.
Trump could pick up the phone and say, I don't know what you're going to decide today, but let me just tell you, it's in the best interest of the city to let the election play out. And that was the whole reason why his Department of Justice stepped up, because it said, I don't care about his case, but don't interfere with the election in 2020.
Let the voters decide.
Lawrence, you and I live in the city. So we vote. And I don't want, if the will of the people should be heard. You can't just pull someone off because you disagree with them. I can understand if
that's definitely politics, right? Just because he's not going along with their agenda, all of a sudden, even though they're Democrats, that now you're just going to just pull the plug on him? Come on. Like, what kind of socialist control is that?
They're charged with a major crime, but the DOJ dropped those charges. So you can't just, I don't think you should be able to remove someone that the voters voted in.
That's right.
Well, the DOJ dropped the charges because they said, okay, we want him to cooperate with the president's migration problem here in New York City, and it would interfere with that election. Keep in mind, the Department of Justice can refile those charges at any time. And so that's one of the things. But ultimately, when it comes down to the will of the people, it's, given the fact that this is like an 80% Democrat town, will the Democrats at that primary punish Eric Adams for working with Donald Trump? Forget about all the bad publicity.
Yeah, here's the punishment for working with Trump. If you don't like it, even though it's not such a bad thing, then don't vote for him in the upcoming election. The elections are coming up, then just don't vote for him. Vote him out.
I mean, every day now there's something bad on the front page of the paper about Eric Adams. Forget about that. But just the fact that he would cooperate with Donald Trump,
all I know is
that's a problem.
All I know is that the people in the Bronx, New York, not really like your Republican area, were cheering when the Homeland Secretary and ICE were there getting rid of the criminals, because the people here, they understand it. They see these people that are causing problems in their neighborhood. They're not in, maybe the rich New York voters are going to vote for someone else because of this, but the poor folks that understand the travesty that's been happening here, they're going to vote for him, I think.
Well, ICE is now allowed back at Rikers Island. So they're going to be able, when those criminals get in, they can grab them right out.
Most New Yorkers, the ones I speak to, they're worried about crime in the city.
Yes.
He's just wanting to take the criminals off the street.
And that's a problem with the, elites of New York, elites of California, elites on the West Coast. The problem with that is that they don't really think about the everyday problems. They just think about themselves, the elites. And so the elites vote for Democrats. And Democrats don't solve any issues, right? They really don't. They just keep the Democrat issue fires going, and it's everybody else that suffers, right? And the problem is that their voices are not heard enough, and the only way you could do that is to just go out there and vote. Is really the only thing, and voting for Trump proved that.
And evidently, Steve and I can't really weigh in because you and Lawrence live in the city.
Well, we work in the city.
I guess we'll just sit on the sideline.
We are taxed by this one out. We get a voice. We are taxed by New York City.
Would you like to
but we have no voice. We just take our money.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Take the money. This is fascinating right here, too.
What exciting benefits do you get as a Hertz Gold Plus Rewards member?
You get to skip the line and go right to your car.
Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help smooth.
Shake up at City Hall seems to be rattling everyone but the mayor tonight.
All right, Fox 5's Morgan Mackay was with the mayor today when it all went down. She's live at City Hall. And Morgan, lots of pieces here moving quickly this afternoon.
Yeah, Steve and Natasha, half of Mayor Eric Adams' deputy mayors have now submitted their resignation. A spokesperson for Adams tells me that this likely won't go fully into effect, at least for the next few weeks, as they help assist with a smooth transition. But these departures mark a significant turning point for Adams as he works to prove that he can govern effectively and run for re-election. First Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, Deputy Mayor for Operations Mira Joshi, Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services Ann Williams Isom, and Deputy Mayor for Public Safety Chauncey Parker have all submitted their resignation. Torres Springer's departure is seen as particularly concerning since she is a longtime veteran of City Hall. She was appointed First Deputy Mayor in October of last year, after the former First Deputy Mayor Sheena Wright resigned following a federal investigation that ensnared Wright and her husband, the former school's chancellor David Banks. Deputy Mayor Public Safety Chauncey Parker was also recently appointed to his position after his predecessor Phil Banks was also forced to resign last year as he faced his own investigation. All four deputy mayors didn't address why they are resigning in their resignation letters, but reportedly they are concerned they will be unable to do their jobs effectively as questions loom about Adams' relationship with the Trump administration now that they are moving to drop the criminal charges against Adams. Adams addressed these departures as he left a rally earlier today.
When I was indicted, people said that's the end of the administration. People said that, you know, the people have lost confidence, and go back and do an analysis from the day that I was indicted to what we have accomplished. That is my ability to lead through turmoil, and I'm going to continue to do that.
I'd say let him do his job. If you ask me personally, I don't like Eric Adams. I really don't like him. I think he's a, you know, he goes with wherever the wind blows, right? If, you know, he went along with the narrative of, hey, we're allowing these illegals to come in, and then, you know, he's an officer, right? He's about safety, right? And we all know he could have pushed against that a long time ago, but he went along with it, right? And then after dealing with it for a couple years, he started to ask questions now, right, as the city was dealing with issues which should have been dealt with long before that. And then, you know, when he gets pushed back because, you know, it's the Biden administration, you can't go against that at the time, you know, he gets raided, right? And then comes the Trump administration. Now he's playing ball with Trump. It doesn't look good, but at the same time, I don't like him. I just think he goes with the wind where the wind blows. You know, it's re-election time too, so whatever happens, happens. But I'm just against the idea of the governor removing him from office against the will of the people who voted for him in the first place. At the same time, I think people want this sweep to happen, right? The deportations, the safety to come back, all that stuff. And he's trying to do all that, but the roadblock right now is Hochul. All right, and if anything, Hochul needs to go. Just saying. All right, and all these DAs, whether it's like Alvin Bragg, whether it's Letitia James, all these fools got to go too, because they're not all. They're all about just, you know, going. I mean, why are they for the illegals? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And that's the frustrating part.
But now Council Speaker Adrian Adams is calling on Mayor Adams to resign, saying it is now clear that the mayor has lost the confidence of even his staff. Over the next several days, there has been a cascade of lawmakers calling on Adams to step aside.
They're only stepping out because he's working with Trump. That's just simply what it is.
Or for Governor Kathy Hochul to remove Adams from office. Adams attended a campaign rally at a church in Brooklyn this afternoon and pushed back on those who says he is just a puppet of the Trump administration.
remember listening to some of Dr. King's teaching, and he talked about the book Mein Kampf. And he indicated if you tell a lie long enough, loud enough, people would tend to believe it's true. And that's what you're seeing right now, modern day Mein Kampf.
All right, whatever. They have other worries like, this bitch over here, AOC, who should be prosecuted for aiding and abetting. See, that's the problem. They have other stuff to worry about, than to worry about Eric Adams trying to do the job the right way, right? That's the problem, and I don't know. I just don't get it. Let's see here. What else we got going on here? See, look at this. New York City migrants loot luxury homes before ICE deports them. So you got that kind of shit that you got to deal with, right? You got this bitch over here they got to deal with because she's trying to tell illegals how to deal with ICE, right? What kind of shit is that? Like, you have other shit to worry about, and to me, like, to try to consider like pushing Adams out, and he's trying to work with deportation and all that, it doesn't look right. It doesn't sound right. And so, that's the bullshit you got to deal with. And if you go against anything the Democrats are about, all of a sudden you're shunned and you're pushed out, right? They will destroy who you are as a person. Let me look at Lindy Lee, right? Going against Democrats, and look what happens, man. They are really targeting her for all kinds of stupid bullshit. All right, so that sort of shit. Schools face deadline to remove DEI programs or lose funding. Good, because there's no reason to have DEI in the classroom, right? For what? Right? I think it's already diverse in itself to have all these different races within the classroom. So why you gotta have special programs to facilitate that further, right? I don't know. We could talk about it another day. But so other than that, I just wanted to cover this bullshit. I think the governor will remove Eric Adams because they're self-serving, and they've proven that time and time again. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Subscribe to the bell icon. I'm on Rumble. I'm on YouTube. Other than that, I'll see you next one.